Bonus round. So today in the bonus round, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about one of the subjects that I know a lot about and I find very fascinating, and directly plays into the chapter that we just talked about, and that is molecules, particles, chemicals that are cancer causing. Now, just a little bit of background on me. I've done 2 years of research on cancer-causing molecules, sources of cancer, so I know about this stuff. And there's a lot of misconceptions that people have, so I want to clear some of those up. Now, this is specifically in reference to, in the section about browning, they talk about how there's some evidence that charring or browning of food, the molecules involved in that, can be linked to cancer. Now, cancer is a weird disease, and I don't have a lot of time to go into it, but the short of it is, cancer is different than anything else, any other disease, in that there is no 100% way to guarantee one person is going to get cancer and one person is not. With any other disease, either you get a virus or you get a bacteria or you don't. With cancer, there are people that smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day for 80 years and don't get cancer, and there's somebody that wears sunscreen all the time and has never smoked a day in their life and they'll get cancer when they're 40. It's a luck of the draw sort of thing. And so why is that? Well, the way that cancer works is that the cells in your body have DNA. DNA is the genetic code, the textbook, the instruction manual for what your cells are going to do. And when you are alive, your cell's DNA is constantly being damaged by different things. And this damage, our cells are really good at repairing themselves. And even if they can't repair themselves, they undergo this process called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. Essentially, the cells say, we've got too much damage, we're going to kill ourselves. Sounds bad, but consider we have over 100 trillion cells in our entire body. So that's okay if 1 or 2 of them die. Now, occasionally, a cell's DNA will be damaged by something, and it won't get repaired, and it'll go on to make more cells with that damage. Now, it's this accumulation of little bits of damage over time that can lead to a cell that's cancerous. That is to say, this cell divides uncontrollably. Now, the problem with that is there's just not a lot of room in our bodies, and something that's dividing constantly needs a lot of nutrients, and so it sucks the nutrients out of us. That's what makes cancer so bad, is that it takes up space, and there's just not a lot of extra space in there, and it's sucking up all those nutrients that the rest of our body needs. So again, cancer is just from random mutations. So how is it that certain foods or activities are linked with cancer? Well, some things are more prone to damaging DNA than others. For example, smoking, the tar in cigarettes has a carcinogenic effect. That is to say, when something is carcinogenic, it is more prone to mutate your DNA. Now, that may just result in cells killing themselves or non-harmful mutations. But occasionally, it can result in something harmful, something cancerous. The problem is, it's just a luck of the draw sort of thing. Sometimes you can get 100 mutations in a cell, and none of them are harmful. Sometimes you'll get 4 mutations in a cell, and then it's cancerous. It's all really an issue of probability. So I wanted to clear that up. That when we say that things are cancerous, for example, charring, browning on food, I'm not too worried about that personally. Because while it may be linked to slightly higher rates of cancer, a lot of the things that are slightly linked, it's a very mild carcinogenic effect. Whereas those things like UV rays from the sun or smoking, those are heavily carcinogenic and greatly increase your risk of mutations and therefore cancer. So don't worry about charring your food. It's okay, it happens. Just don't eat a whole block of charcoal. Okay? now that out of the way, we promised you in the regular lecture to fill you in on the lab for this week in the bonus round. So here is your lab for this week. For this week, we don't have a set activity. Instead, you are going to design and cook a meal yourself. When I say meal, I mean something good. A appetizer of some sort, an entree, and a dessert. We need to see all three components there. Please take pictures of the food as you're making it and once it's complete. And the most important part of this is for each piece of each portion that you make, you need to tell us three things. First, what kind of utensil did you use? Did you use a metal? Did you use a ceramic? Was it stainless steel or cast iron? Was it a porcelain or glass? The second thing you need to tell us is what types of heat did you use? Did you use conduction, like on the grill or in a sauté pan? Did you use convection, like the heat of the air in the oven, or boiling water? Or did you use radiation, like the infrared rays coming off of really hot charcoal or a microwave? The final thing you need to tell us, and this might be the trickiest, but I believe in you, is you need to tell us how the cooking utensil combined with the heat transfer method gave you the certain flavors or cooking that you see. For example, if you used a metal utensil on the stove, so conduction with conduction heat, that would give you browning because it's very direct heat, and the metal allows for a lot of conduction that brings that heat to the surface of the food, allowing browning. Okay? So, the final piece. We talked about two types of utensils, metal and ceramic. We need to see you use both of them. And we talked about three types of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. You need to use all three as well. You don't need to use all of them in each part of the dish, but throughout the whole meal, we should see at least one cooking method with metal, one with ceramic, and at least one use of each of our three types of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.